All right. Welcome back to more FLA Homes. If you're new to the channel, my name is Christian Clay. Alongside me is one of our real estate rock stars on the squad. Dan, how are you?
Wonderful down here in the Sarasota Lakewood Ranch area.
Listen, another community breakdown. We're going to do something slightly different for everybody out there. We're looking at some of the most affordable real estate, new construction options in Lakewood Ranch. We're looking at two. And the reason you said we need to show the people this is because sometimes people decide between the two. And I felt like the best way to show everybody is like, let's just go ahead and compare them. We're going to show them off. We're going to talk about the stats. We're going to take a look at two of their model homes and maybe help some people out there. So if that is you, you need to listen up. Dan, take them home.
Yeah, so I think this is great when we were discussing. We wanted to find the best value in Lakewood Ranch because everybody asks about Lakewood Ranch, and a value is always a key word to get the most bang for the buck. Not everybody has a $3 million budget, but you still want to live in these great areas. And I think I know these two areas because I've sold in both communities, offer the most bang for the buck. Price per square foot, you get a lot of value to them, and you can get in there under $600,000. So, you know, some will go higher, but I think this is what people need to know because you can get such a beautiful area at a reasonable price.
All right, let me show everybody where we're at, and then this is kind of Dan's part. This is the recap, right? I'm always like, let me tell you what I've learned over the last months here, Dan. So
Yep.
here is Lakewood Ranch for everybody out there. I would say suburb of Sarasota, part of
And
what else? Is there another
it's,
considerable
yeah, so
suburb?
it's Manatee and Sarasota counties. It's kind of split. You know, two-thirds of it's in Manatee County and the other thirds in Sarasota County.
So we covered a lot down here, a lot of beautiful stuff. Waterside Place, one of my favorite. But now we're in the more northern section. Now we did, was it Esplanade that we did last week, or the last community that we did?
Yeah, we did Esplanade. Yep, yep. That was the
Cool,
golf community, not too far from there.
very nice. So
Yep.
we have Lorraine Lakes and we have Solera.
Solera.
Okay,
Yes.
so one thing that's very noticeable: Lorraine Lakes a lot bigger, Solera a
Yes.
little sliver of maybe a section. We're gonna get into that, but as far as location to other things to do, being in the north part of Lakewood Ranch, is there any benefit to it?
Well, yep. So you get right up there on 64 and get up to Tampa a little bit quicker because you're dodging some of the construction. There's a ton of construction on I-75 right now as they expand the area. A lot of roundabouts and everything being added, but you can get out to Anna Maria Island pretty quick, and you get straight up into St. Petersburg, and Tampa. Probably within you save yourself about 20-25 minutes.
So for those people that consider Lakewood Ranch and they found it because maybe they were looking into the Tampa area, this being in the northern part of it might be a little better option for them. You can get easy access to Tampa and St. Pete and some of the shopping up there.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, cool. So let's start with Lorraine Lakes.
Yes.
How many homes, talk to us about this community.
Okay, so Lorraine Lakes is definitely a larger community. You're looking at 1,500 homes. They're getting close to being sold out. It's been going there for a while. There's about 70 homes left. You got 11 move-in ready homes as of this last week available right now. We just spoke with them over there, and there's a couple more you can kind of pick out your options. But these most of them are coming into. They've already kind of picked it for you by the most desirable choices that the builder feels that people ask for. So you still have a little option there.
I
There's eight.
have to say too, like, and I'm sorry to interrupt you here,
Yeah,
but for everybody out there, this is America's number one builder versus America's number two builder about volume, right? Not necessarily the
yes,
best homes that they build, right? But
right.
we're comparing D.R. Horton to Lennar, which is actually pretty cool, right? So we're talking Lorraine Lakes is Lennar exclusive, right?
Yes, yes. Both neighborhoods that we're talking about are specifically to that builder only. And I think this, like you said, number one, number two against each other. Some offer a little bit different things.
Yeah.
And this neighborhood offers townhouses. Everything ranges from 1,400 square feet all the way up to 3,900 square feet. Unfortunately, in this neighborhood, the townhouses have sold out because you could get in there, in the high 300s,
Those
and
probably
then they
sold
went
first
quick.
thing. They're
They
like
went quick.
phase one. They're like, no more townhomes,
Yeah,
everybody. I
yeah.
tell you
So
what,
they
for
went
everybody
quick.
out there, Lakewood Ranch is that American dream feeling community. And sometimes I think it could be discouraging to some people because they may feel like, I can't get into this area. Like, it's so established. There's all this stuff going on. People driving their golf carts. It's expensive. But when you have these townhomes and these affordable single family home options, I think they go quickly because this is where a lot of people want to be.
Absolutely, absolutely, and then you're in the center of everything going on in Lakewood Ranch. So this neighborhood had townhomes, villas, and single family homes. So, but yeah, there's a little bit of a difference there. It's such a large neighborhood.
Okay, very nice. All right, before we hop
And this
into
is gated, by
amenities,
the way. gated also. This
Oh,
one's
okay,
gated.
cool. Very a gated community. Listen
This
there,
one's
people.
gated. The next neighborhood is not gated.
Okay, and then before we shift over to the next community, what's like the variance in price ranges in this community now that single family is kind of absorbed?
So if you're starting single family, you're probably starting in
And I,
the high fours, low fives to get into entry level.
okay, very nice.
Single family. I mean, you could get in it for less when it was villas and townhomes, but they've sold those out now. So now we're into single family only.
Okay.
You're probably looking in the high fours, low fives.
Okay, cool. And I meant to say townhomes absorb, but single family absorb. Okay, cool. Very nice. All right, let's hop over to Solera. Solera, am I saying that correctly? Solera, Solera. Solera.
Solera.
Sorry,
Yeah.
everybody. Hey, by the way we're able to give you these breakdowns, because you may be like, isn't Christian in Central Florida? How is he? We have agents that are actually working and living in these areas. So Dan, he's not in my office right now, but I get to see him on Friday. But yeah, he's down there. He's working. He's living. This is his area. So, all right. So Solera, this is the DR Horton exclusive. This was
Correct.
the one that looked a little smaller on the map to me. How many homes are we expecting out here?
So these homes are about 670 homes in this community. They're coming sold out too. They're getting close to the end there. Got about a year left. We just spoke to Vicky, you and myself, recently. There's 19 move-in ready homes available as of today. They had 12 total floor plans there, so you still have options. And this range is 1,672 square feet to about 3,975. So about the same size on your single-family homes between the two communities. Only the thing about this community, it's only single-family homes with no gate.
Okay, I was going to ask you that. I'm jotting my notes down, so I'm going to give everybody like my genuine thought on what I think, maybe a better value, or just kind of try to compare the two. But no gate out here, and then price points. Did you give us that range of price points?
Yeah, so your price points start also here in the 400s. You can probably pick up a home in there right now. The last I was talking to Vicky, she had a couple things at 425 for the smaller homes,
Cool.
and you're going to top out at 600, for the largest home.
Oh, hold your horses! I see a golf course in the view, Dan. You can't do
It's in
that
the
to
back
me.
view. It's in
Yeah.
the back view. That's another community, but that's the Lakewood Ranch.
This is where I want to live, right here, Dan. I want to just kind of sneak through
Lakewood
here.
National. You slide through, hit some balls on chipping up on the
Yeah,
putting green.
when everybody leaves out. So, okay,
Yeah.
now I have an idea. So, Lorraine, larger. It's a level 2 product, which we're going to show here in a second. It is gated. Solera is a smaller community, a level 1 product, not gated. Right now, price points are not really anything that's too different from each other. Let's talk about the amenities in Lorraine.
So Lorraine, this is where a little bit of a separation comes in, because
Gotcha.
with the gate, you get a full-on experience with resort style feeling here. They have a restaurant, the pools, the pickleball, the kiddie park there. You see the gym, pickleball, basketball courts. So all those amenities are here in this neighborhood, and this is where the separation comes, because you look at price per square foot, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can get pretty similar in the price per square foot, but now you're going to pay a little extra to have all this extra stuff. Where you're going to put your CDD around $270, and your HOA range is $300 to $400. We could talk about the fees in the next place over, but you're buying all these wonderful experiences for your family, and it is definitely family oriented. That's for sure.
I mean, very nice amenity center. Let's take a look at the other amenity center at Solera.
Yep. So Solera is very basic. Okay, no gate, and you're talking about price point there is your CDD drops to 112, and then your fees are 270. And remember, these are maintenance free. They'll take care of all your grass cutting and all that stuff in both communities. But you're looking probably a good $300 less per month to be in this neighborhood. Less amenities, less to worry about for the HOA.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second while we're on topic, right? So amenities in Lorraine, way better. Like let's just extract the fees, way better. But you still have a pool out here in Solera, right? So if you need a pool and you don't need the extra fees, Solera could be an option for you. You're going to save $200 to $300 monthly, right?
Probably $300 a month. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but if you want this right here, and you're okay paying that extra $200 to $300, I think it's well worth it. Right?
Definitely look at a lifestyle. There's that lifestyle look that people come for certain reasons. How does it make me feel, right? Some people really need all the bells and whistles, and some people don't.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I guess we'd also have to see like how packed this area gets. There
Yeah,
are some amenity centers that are really cool, and then you go there on a Saturday, and it's like, where am I going to play? Where am I going to sit? So I would love to take a look at that in the near future. Any idea what this could be in here? Is this just part of the clubhouse? Is there anything special in
yeah.
there?
Part of the clubhouse. I think that's a gymnasium,
Cool.
and we weren't able to quite get in there like we're supposed to because as you get far along in these communities, the builder doesn't like us shooting video with a bunch of people. Privacy.
Of course.
We have
Of
a little
course.
more options when they're a little bit newer, but now these are almost completed. There's somebody at these places all the time using the facilities, so we have to get special permission to get into those. So, but they stay
That's
pretty
really
busy on the
cool.
weekends.
Splash pad, putting green. I mean, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really neat. All right, so let's go ahead and show off both of the products if we can. All right,
yeah,
so let's start with Solera. We'll start with the
yep. This is
Hayden
our Horton.
product. This is a level 1 product for everybody out there. So like Dan, definitely the area expert. He's educating me, but when it comes to the building process, we all understand under one umbrella. So level 1 product. What I'm noticing with DR Horton is it's an elevated level 1 product. People may look at this video and say, what is he talking about? Well, they typically don't do like the stone features on their product
Right.
out here. So I'm interested in seeing what the inside looks like.
Yeah, and I think you're going to find these a little bit nicer than the average. They put a little extra in this area of Lakewood Ranch. One of the reasons we picked these two models is because when we took the models, one of them priced out around, I think it was 440. Let me double check here. Um, so yeah, this one $480,000 for the house you're looking at right now, and it's 2,605 square feet. It has 5 bedrooms. It has a den. It has 3 bathrooms. Okay, so we did the same tour of another house across the street, but a little bit bigger. But they both come out to about $185 a square foot. So that's kind of where we got the
Cool.
best value. If you look at the building itself, price per square foot, what you're getting, and then you just take a Lorraine Lakes and you say, I'm going to pay extra for all the amenities. That's where you're at. But they're doing the granite countertops,
The
our
LVP
quartz
flooring.
countertops,
Yeah, yeah.
flooring,
It's definitely
through.
more than they traditionally do, right? And this is a floor plan they
Correct.
sell everywhere. I mean, they'll sell you a
Yeah.
Hayden with carpet everywhere and for mica countertops. Like this thing stoops down to the lowest like finish that you could probably get. So they're taking the
Yeah.
same model, and this is DR Horton's playbook. You got to remember, America's #1 builder per volume for a reason. They just say, hey, we're gonna build these everywhere, and then they can pick. If they want it, they want it. If not, we'll sell it to the next person. Now, when it
Right.
comes to let's just incentives and what they offer, DR Horton doesn't swing as much as some of the other builders will because they're a cash business, right? So they only build it when they sell it, if that were to make sense. Now, when we talk about Lennar, they'll build 85,000 homes, and then they'll say, hey, look, maybe we need to drop these prices if the market shifts or whatnot. So, but DR Horton is a very standard offering. They may kind of bump it up a couple of thousand here and there on their incentives. But yeah, just note to self for everybody out there. This isn't one of those builders that we take the craziest swings at just because, they usually just kind of wait around.
Yeah, and they put some offer. They got some pretty good offerings with red tag sales and all that stuff that we
Exactly.
stay in touch with. But those are all timing situations. So that's why I know that you emphasize with the team to have be involved with every builder and involved with the sales reps. We have the top information as it comes out.
Insider builder access is one of the pillars of our business here. That's how we're able to help people because we're not guessing, right? When you have some stuff going, when you understand what's happening on the other side, it helps to make
Yeah.
some of the best offers here. All right, let's shoot over to the Lennar product. Now, I must say, I don't know what it's like down there in Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota. This doesn't look like a Lennar product. I promise you that. Now, this is just the outside aesthetic. We're going to get on the inside and talk a little more about that. But from, the outside look of it, it looks like an elevated product. What level are we seeing this Lennar product in?
You're definitely 2, 3. I think that because now that most of their stuff is already being prepared or pre-picked out
Predetermined.
for you,
Mm-hmm.
you still have a couple other things you can. A couple of models left, but like I said, we're getting to the end. But again, this comes out at $185 a square foot, minus the pool. The pool's always going to cost you more.
I don't know if I've
But
ever seen Lennar model with a pool. I got to think
yeah,
about
well, you're
that.
about to.
Yeah, I may be contradicting myself. I probably
Yeah.
have.
So, but this one's considerably bigger. The last one we looked at was 2,600 square feet. This is almost 3,300 square feet. Same position though. 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. a 2-car garage with a den. Um, obviously on the Lennar models, they put a little more time into decorating. We actually did a spec home on the last one you saw.
Yeah.
So if we were in the models at DR Horton, you would see the same kind of furniture and so forth.
Yeah, yeah.
But
For
but
everybody out
the
there, we're just looking
countertops,
at the layouts and the finishes, not necessarily
the
the deck.
counters are
But
very
that's a
similar.
good call for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, but
But
those are
here's what I'm noticing. So, do you know anything about the pool? Like, is that something that are they building that with the specs, or did they just model this with that?
that one's modeled with it, and now the rest of the specs they don't put them in with the specs.
Okay,
They were doing that during COVID. They would do some with the pool, but now it's just a separate entity near the end of this construction. But you
very
can
nice.
you have to buy it and add the pool later if it's already specced out. If you're picking one with a lot, which I think they have a little bit left, you can go ahead and add the pool at that time.
Very nice. Now, comparing builder to builder, right? Both of them typically we see those level 1 products. We're saying out here in Lakewood Ranch, the Lennar is more of a level 2 product, even though they're specking. But before they just started finishing and specking, I guess all of the homes out here, you can select some small little packages, right? Like
Yeah,
it sounds like you could have selected some small things, so that'll bump them up into a level 2 product. Now, when it
yeah, with
comes to
towers.
deals, when
Yeah,
it comes to deals for everybody, Lennar is one that we have made some great deals with because they build a lot of homes and then they price them accordingly. So if the market is making an adjustment, they will make some big adjustments, whereas DR is kind of building as the market goes. So yeah, I mean, this has been a builder we've definitely struck with. Both of them, I would recommend have somebody on your squad. Would love for it to be us, but it could be your Aunt Susan if she has her real estate license. Best way to reach us, team@morefla.com. But have somebody on your side because it's not just about getting a good deal and going under contract. You have the inspection process to go through. You have everything that lines up to closing. So make sure you have somebody on your squad that understands the process. If you've been watching our videos, you know that we are very, very experienced here. But I'm liking the product so far. I mean, from Lennar, I mean, it's a little different than what we typically see, especially in the Tampa, Orlando area.
right. Yeah, this one
Um,
has towers too. So
Gotcha. What's your thoughts on it? So you're down there, you're living, right? What do you see visually, or just from people living in those communities, the difference between the two are? Do people like one more than the other, or did we pretty much highlight exactly what to expect? One has more amenities, more fees versus the other.
I think it really depends on your purpose. I think you've done a good job of asking the right questions because we're so experienced in with our customers. We have to answer this question, but it depends on your lifestyle. So I've sold probably about 16 or 17 homes in Solera and probably about 5 in Lorraine Lakes. So it definitely has to do with how do they want to see their life. Like a lot of my investors bought in the DR Horton community because it fit the bill for their investment situation. But then I also had families that say, I don't want all the amenities. I want to keep it simple.
Yeah.
But then I have people that came from up north in Canada that love the Lorraine Lakes because like if we're coming to Florida, we're coming to Florida life. And when they want the Florida life, they want all the amenities. So it really depends on people's plans. I think both are good options for you because it's a great price point to get in. Because now, as we start going to other neighborhoods, now you're talking mid sevens.
Yeah.
Now you're
Starting.
talking million one,
Yeah.
and these two communities, you're going to get in. You can purchase a home under $600,000 and really enjoy the same benefits that people are spending $1 million for.
Yeah, my thought is people that are in these two communities shopping are probably getting into Lakewood Ranch at an affordable price point. That's kind of like goal number one, or like
Yeah,
we can't really do anything else other than that. So then when you start to dive into the fees, there's a little bit of a sacrifice to go to Solera versus the Lorraine community just because of the fees in itself, right? So
right,
I see Solera as the better option just chasing affordability when it comes to that.
correct.
And my thought is when you go to Lorraine, you still get that affordable price point. But then if you're somebody that's like, hey, I'm willing to spend that money on those fees, you might have other options as well, but you have to bump up to that price point. So kind of a ramble, but I do see Solera as the better affordable option for people
Oh
when it
yeah,
comes to the goal of saving money.
absolutely.
Yeah, very nice. All right, so hey, anything else for before we hop off?
No, I think it's a great time to buy. Everybody says as realtors, but I think it really depends on your plan, and this team is here for you. So just reach out.
Make sure you reach out to us, team@morefla.com. If you made it this far, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, what the heck are you doing? We'll catch you guys on the next one.